Truck and Driver gets the call from Penske Transportation Group International. We want you to do the exclusive test on the first 640 horsepower MAN TGX in Australasia. Well, what can you say to a request like that? Let's get on with it. It seems to be a sign of the times that we're jumping out of one big bang European truck into another. Recently, we've tested a 750 horsepower Volvo, a Mercedes-Benz with 625 horsepower, and now MAN's offering with 640 horsepower. It's a sign of the times as operators are looking to higher horsepower to deliver reliability and fuel economy. That's right, these big bangers are serving up improved fuel economy figures for the 50-tonne rated units, regularly doing better than 2 kilometres per litre. Today we're running out of Palmerston North with a load of produce bound for Auckland. We're a bit on the light side with only 17 tonnes of freight on board, so it's not going to be too hard to drive with 640 horsepower underfoot. We catch up with owners Jazz Singh and Vic Singh in Palmy for our afternoon drive. Climbing up into the high floor cab is a breeze with 3 very large well-spaced steps and grab handles front and back of the door opening. All major instrumentation is right in front of the driver, and most of the regularly used functions can be accessed on the steering wheel and column stalks. Forward vision is excellent with a giant windscreen, and the mirrors are a real nice package, very similar to the Mercedes, with dual mirrors on both sides in a large single housing. They do create a bit of a blind spot when looking out left and right that you have to be aware of, which we suppose is the price you pay for such large mirrors. They certainly offer great vision down the sides, right up to the side of the cab, so there's no real blind spot that you can lose a car in when it's passing. Heading out of Palmy, it's an easy, flat run to get a feel of the truck, and it's certainly a nice ride. It's very reminiscent of the Mercedes-Benz we recently tested, with excellent in-cab noise levels and a smooth, soft ride, even over uneven surfaces. Up here in the cab in our Isri seats, we're floating along and not feeling any severe bumps at all. The cab has a nice open feeling with a high roof, flat floor and generous bunk space. It's a very roomy interior. MAN tells us these new series trucks have an improved transmission that delivers smoother and quicker shifting, and it certainly feels like that as we climb up through the gears leaving Palmy. Once we clear Bulls on the road north, it's time to try out some of the numerous driver assist features. So with a push on the steering wheel mounted button, we dial up cruise control and set the speed at 90 k's an hour and set the distance at which the active cruise control will slow us if we get close to another vehicle in front. Then it's time to sit back and enjoy the ride. When we finally find some downhills, we engage the engine brake by the column mounted lever to set the downhill speed on cruise control, or simply touch the brake pedal and the truck maintains the speed we're at all the way down the hill. It's all very effortless for the driver. All these functions are easy to use and have very straightforward marked switches to activate and operate them. On stretches of gently rolling roads, our fuel economy is further assisted by the efficient roll function that disengages the engine when it's not powering, dropping the revs back to idle until power or braking is required. Our run to Mangaweka is done on cruise control with only use of the brake to set descent speed and use of the throttle to override the active cruise control's distance setting to overtake slow-moving vehicles. On the long, steady climb out of Mangaweka, for most of it the MAN holds top gear, taking another gear about 3/4 of the way up when we drop to 1000 RPM, and it holds that up over the top. For most of the climb we're at 80 k's an hour, only dropping below that when it downshifts to 11th. It's not surprising given the MAN D38 engine produces 640 horsepower along with 3,000 newton meters of torque all the way down to 900 RPM. Running down the other side, once again we leave the cruise control and engine brake to do its things. The run through to Tai Happy has a few climbs and descents, but given our relatively lightweight, we never really get a chance to try out the full power of the engine, nor the effectiveness of the transmission, but everything we do encounter, it tackles effortlessly. The steering is very positive, giving a good feel and needing almost no correction to keep the unit in a straight line. In fact, it tracks very nicely and doesn't show any bump steer from the rough road surfaces we encounter. The driving position is very good, the great Isri seats giving a great wide range of adjustment and excellent leg room. When you're running in cruise control, there's plenty of room to stretch your legs. And a fully adjustable steering column allows for even the biggest drivers to set themselves up with plenty of room. It's very similar to the Actros we drove recently in ride and drivability, which we suppose speaks of their German heritage. Jazz Singh says they bought this truck for comfort and fuel economy, and if our driver's anything to go by, then he's got both. It runs effortlessly, which should indicate good fuel economy, and you certainly couldn't say it's not comfortable. It rates right up there with some of the best of them. It's been a great drive.